are facing most likely one of the largest snowstorms in the history of this city.
Sooner or later, we're going to get hit with a big one, and this may be the one.
I'll believe it when I see it, I guess. I'm hoping maybe it won't be as bad as they say.
New Yorkers should not underestimate this storm. Assume conditions will be unsafe. Assume that you do not want to be out in this storm. When you can stay indoors, stay indoors. When you can stay off the roads, stay off the roads.
Starting last night at 11, it was actually illegal for private cars to drive on New York City streets. States of emergency were declared in New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. The National Guard was called out in several states, all because of a storm that officials were describing with words like historic and life-threatening. It hit last night and is expected to last through today. It could bring 20 to 30 inches of snow. But that's only part of the story. Wind gusts of 55 to 65 miles per hour, that's a force of a tropical storm, will be driving all that snow into the region. The silver lining is the 58 million people potentially in the path of this thing had advance notice. They were able to stock up on everything from bread to batteries to bagels to bathroom tissue. Many stores totally ran out of stock. Thousands of flights were canceled as people prepared for what forecasters called a blizzard in the true sense of the word.
You hear it all the time. It's one of the most overused terms in weather. A blizzard warning and blizzard conditions have to be signified when you have snow coming down, you have your winds that are at least at 35 miles per hour or greater, and your visibility is reduced to under a quarter of 1 mile. And not only do you have to have all these in place, you have to have this happening for at least 3 hours or a longer period of time for a blizzard warning to be issued. One thing to note with blizzard conditions is once the storm moves, even when the snow has stopped falling, you could be experiencing blizzard-like conditions because the winds will be howling across the area. So any sort of drift snow that has been on the ground there will be blown right in front of you. That'll cause disruptions as far as visibility once again coming down. Even though the storm is long gone, you will still be experiencing blizzard conditions. Now, a fascinating study was done back in 2002 looking at the most prone area across the United States where blizzards occurred, and the most frequented area for blizzards were areas around the Dakotas, western Minnesota, on into Wyoming, and eventually eastern Colorado. That region saw the highest likelihood of blizzards every single year, but that study also showed about 2.5 million people per year experience these blizzard-like conditions. Now you displace that into the upper Midwest, take it say into Chicago, or take it into the Northeast, into Boston, Philadelphia, or New York. Now you're talking about tens of millions of people being impacted by blizzard conditions, and that is when this story becomes very dangerous for a lot of people.
70 years ago today, during World War II, Soviet troops made their way to a camp in southern Poland. They found a little more than 7,600 people there, starving or injured or sick or all three. The Soviet forces had discovered Auschwitz. It was Nazi Germany's largest concentration and extermination camp. 90% of the people murdered there were Jews. Others included Poles, Gypsies, or anyone else the Nazis wanted to kill. In 1979, it was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Why? As a monument to past genocide, as a symbol to future generations, in the hope the Holocaust will neither be repeated nor forgotten.
This is the largest murder place on the planet throughout any part of human history.
The Auschwitz concentration camp. Of the more than 6 million Jews slaughtered by Nazi Germany during World War II, more than 1 million were murdered here.
Academics still argue, was it 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 million? Could you imagine? They're not sure. They could be up to 200,000 extra human beings murdered there. It was so massive, we're not even sure.
70 years later, one still struggles to comprehend the scale of the atrocities committed within this compound of barbed wire, bricks, and snow. At the Auschwitz Museum, grim exhibits. The mounds of shoes that the Nazis confiscated from their prisoners. The haunting portraits of inmates, Polish, Russian, French, Jewish, Roma. Photos taken just days before these victims died.
So what was the worst? Humiliation. Humiliation. That you were not considered to be a human being. You were considered to be like an insect.
Marian Turski is a Polish Jew and today an editor at one of Poland's most respected magazines.
Out of 43 members of my closest family, only four survived.
In 1944, he was only a teenager when he arrived at the Auschwitz camp in Nazi-occupied Poland. Like hundreds of thousands of other victims, crammed into a cattle car on board a train. Tursky was among the minority destined for slave labor, tattooed with a number that for months became his identity.
I'm B9408. This is my name. Yeah, this is my name.
Tursky survived slave labor, starvation, and disease, and went on to tell the world the story of what he endured. Nazi-occupied Poland was the epicenter of Adolf Hitler's plan to wipe the Jews off the face of Europe. It was a plan that failed. 70 years after World War II, there's a small but growing community of Jews in Poland. A new generation to carry the memories of their elders. Ivan Watson, CNN, Auschwitz, Poland.
Well, from the Midwest to the West to the Far East, it's time for the roll call. We've got Salina Central High School leading things off today. They're in Salina, Kansas, and their mascot is the Mighty Mustangs. Anyone know the state nickname for Wyoming? It's the Cowboy State. But it's the Panthers who are on today's roll from Powell High School in Powell. And our third stop is in Guangdong, China. We're happy to see the students of Shenzhen Yukai High School. They're watching CNN Student News from Shenzhen. Back in July of 1947, a rancher from Roswell, New Mexico found a mess of metallic sticks, chunks of plastic, and foil reflectors. He told some folks about it, and soldiers came shortly afterward to clear it away from his pasture. The military says it was part of a top-secret project to carry classified materials for the Army Air Forces. But some skeptics still believe it was an unidentified flying object, and they just got a lot more material to talk about.
UFOs. They've perplexed and fascinated people for decades, and countless conspiracies had developed to explain the unexplained.
The government knows about it, and I gotta know what they're protecting.
Well, now, UFO enthusiasts have more food for thought, nearly 130,000 pages of it. The Air Force has recently made public Project Blue Book, an archive of UFO reports and investigations dating back to the 1940s. The report includes more than 12,000 sightings made by military members and civilians. While most of the cases were explained as either satellites, weather balloons, high-flying jets, or even meteors, still hundreds of cases remain unidentified. We have UFO enthusiast John Greenwald to thank for the files. He petitioned for them to be made public for nearly 2 decades by filing Freedom of Information Act requests. Project Blue Book was terminated in 1969 when the Air Force discontinued UFO investigations, concluding that UFOs were not a threat to national security, did not represent advancements in technology, and that there was no evidence to suggest that sightings categorized as unidentified were extraterrestrial vehicles. But there is a gaping omission in the files. There is no mention of the famed 1947 Roswell, New Mexico incident. So, the truth may still be out there.
Before we go, panda, cubed. These are panda triplets, the only surviving panda triplets known to man. They were born in late July and they just had their 6-month birthday party. That's significant because the 6-month mark is an important indicator of a panda's health, according to zoo officials. Their home is at a breeding park in China, and it says they're all doing well and that they've just begun to snack on fresh bamboo all by themselves. They're so cute, it's hard even for critics to panda bears. If they stick together, they'll have thrice the fun, bamboozling people into thinking they're pandorable. You gotta pand it to them. Thanks for bearing with our pandas today. CNN Student News is back tomorrow.